Well, at least it's a good name. But if you have a name like Anthony Weiner and you do the horrible things that Anthony Weiner did,
that was a good segue.
Then I don't know. Would you vote for him for mayor, because he is now officially running for mayor of New York City, and he is just adamant that he's going to win this election, and he doesn't think anyone's going to hold the I don't know, can we call it Twittergate against him? Of course, you remember the story. Anthony Weiner sent pictures of himself.
Of his wiener.
We knew you were going to go there.
To a woman that he was
his
mistress. It was to a woman that he was. Anyway, well, he's just really.
Well,
can we just say what it is? I mean,
he's in a inappropriate.
he's just so yucky, and now now he feels as if he's risen above that, and no pun intended, and that he can now successfully run for mayor. And so I ask you, I would love to hear your comments too on this. Would you vote for somebody
who sends pictures of their
Yeah, for knowing that he did what he did? Would you vote for him? Would you put someone in office like that?
He is. I mean, he's just putting it out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, and of course, his wife had a baby, and so he's playing that whole family card now. Which, where was your family card when you were deciding to mess around with it?
Here's the situation. People probably send pictures of their junk to people all the time. He just happened to get caught once. So he's clearly probably done this more than once.
Yeah.
Well, he has. It's been out there that he did this to a lot of people. This one just happened to be public.
Well, and not just that, he's a liar and a cheater. So my question is, would you vote him into office?
Well,
Be consistent.
But here's a lot of politicians have sex scandals. He already got his out of the way. So maybe now he can really focus on politics.
I just wonder how much it matters to people, really. I guess you want to say that you want to vote people into office, people who you can trust, people who you think are going to be honest and like do the right thing. I don't know. In politics, it seems so sad to me that now this seems to be more the norm than not. That we hear something scandalous about, one of our politicians. And
does it help your street cred if you've had a scandal? Do you think? I mean, because like they say, like the only worst thing about being talked about is not being talked about.
Well, and so that argument can be made for sure, and the argument can also be made that does it somehow make him like racier and
sexier?
More attractive to women that way?
I think here's the deal. It seems to not matter, but it should matter. Right? It should matter. We're electing these people to make decisions for us every single day about things that are important, about our family, about our taxes, about our lives.
Yeah.
And it goes to character. And I'm sorry, it doesn't seem to matter, but it should matter. I feel like Susie right now.
I agree completely.
Wow,
that's
Mr. Humphreys.
good. Then Susie would probably say that, but then Susie would say, well, but then you got to ask yourself, now what does that woman at home, what is she not doing right that would make her go and do that?
Seriously.
She sometimes likes to take the male point of view. Which
I would agree with that, though, that like you as I've never been a wife, but as a woman, like if your husband is sending pictures of his package to other women, like why does he not want to send them to you?
Yeah,
well,
because you're bored with it, because you don't ruin all over it anymore. Like, I'm just saying.
I think it's also a power thing. I think as a man, when you get into a position of power, especially Congress or the Senate, we see it with presidents, you get in a position of power and you just kind of think you're...
But as a man, do you think that's... like when your wife's like, oh my God, you're so strong for doing for moving that couch. I mean, do you kind of like beef up a little bit and you're like,
I love it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Totally moved a couch all by myself.
My wife grabs my bicep and she loves that. I'm not kidding. And it's great. And I still love it.
It definitely beats, living with somebody who's like, why don't you ever do this? And why don't you? I mean, nobody wants to live with a nag. I get that. And but I think that when your relationship or your marriage hits that point where you feel like it's all nagging, I think instead of snapping pictures of your privates and sending them to some girl who knows that you're married, I think instead of that, maybe you sit down with your significant other and you go, you know what?
I've thought about sending pictures.
No, but you know what? I
wouldn't come that clean.
I am this close to texting a picture of my stuff to someone else, so we need to talk. I mean, come on, really?
Well, she had to take the name Mrs. Weiner, so she was probably frustrated enough with that.
She's like, you have disgraced our name.
Oh, that argument doesn't fly.